around the country. And what Bernie was saying on the cables, I kept hearing at these town halls. I came back to my team, I said, this guy knows where America is. He's saying all the things that all these folks are talking about. I ask you to do the due diligence for America. We're in this thing to the end. Don't give up. We're going to change this country. We're going to change this system, and we're going to show who the hell runs Wall Street. That's Main Street. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the next President of the United States, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders.
WDAZ Special Report.
Good afternoon. Hundreds of Bernie Sanders supporters are filling the Ramada in Fargo at this hour for the presidential hopeful. They started lining up, get this, just after 5 this morning, braving our cold and our wind to try and claim one of the just 1,800 spots available.
The lines have been winding for blocks around the building throughout the day. The tickets were free, and our reporters inside say they were claimed, and the ballroom was completely filled by about 1:15, and the supporters have already started their Bernie chants, and it is standing room only. Bernie Sanders made a surprise trip to UND before his stop here in Fargo. He's planning to go to Bismarck from here.
This is Bernie Sanders at the podium at the Ramada right now.
Thank Prairie Rose Seminole and State Senator Tim Mattern, but I want to say a special word about your native son here. Ed, as you know, was born here in Fargo. And he has gone far and wide. And Ed is, I think everybody knows, has had national radio shows, has had national TV shows. What Ed has done, which is literally unique in the media, as you know, our media is owned by very large corporations. And they don't want certain issues really to be widely discussed. And one of the issues that they have chosen pretty much to not talk about is, as Ed just indicated a moment ago, our disastrous trade policies, which have cost us millions and millions of jobs. This guy, more than any other person in the media, by far, it's not even close, has been the person to educate the American people about the disastrous trade agreements that this country has had. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank Ed Schultz for doing that. So it sounds to me, you know, somebody who's known Ed Schultz for many years, sounds to me that you raise tough and good people here in Fargo. Let me say a few words about the campaign, and then I want to talk to you about why this campaign is doing so well. Number one, I am extremely proud of the fact that when we began this campaign a little over a year ago, we were considered to be a fringe campaign. No one really took us terribly seriously. Well, a lot has changed in the last year. Now, Wall Street is not too happy about it. The world of corporate America is not so happy about it, but I think millions of Americans are happy about the changes that they are seeing. And what we have seen is we have now won primaries and caucuses in 19 states in our country. And on June 7th, with your help, we're going to win the caucus here in North Dakota. And this is what this campaign has also accomplished already. When we began, we were told, well, the only way you can raise the kind of money you need to run a successful national campaign is to establish a super PAC. Well, we agreed with you, and we did not do that. But what we did do is, if you can believe it, in the last year, we have received close to 7.5 million individual campaign contributions. And what that has shown, and this is a really profound political lesson for America, it has shown you can run a winning national campaign without being dependent on Wall Street and the big money interest. I'm proud of that. And here's what else we have done. You know, we've won 19, and we've lost many as well. But in virtually every campaign, in all of the states, virtually every one, every poll that I have seen, something very interesting is occurring. You know what's occurring? We win, and in many ways, overwhelmingly, the votes of young people. And by young people, I don't just mean the 20-year-olds. You know, when you get older, the definition of old changes. We are winning the votes of people 45 years of age and younger. Now, why is that? Why is that important? It is important because we are winning the vision for the future of America and for the vision of the Democratic Party. Now, one of the reasons that Donald Trump is not going to be One of the reasons that Donald Trump will not become president of the United States is that we are beating him in virtually every national and statewide poll. And our job, which we are going to undertake in a very aggressive way, is not only to do our best to win here in North Dakota and the remaining 7 states that are left, and to end up, and it's a steep hill and we acknowledge it from day one. Yeah, I think we can. We're going to have to win. It's not easy. But here in North Dakota and the remaining 7 other states, we have to win about 65% of the pledged delegates. Right now, we're at about 45.5%. I want to be at 50% plus 1. So that's task number 1. So you guys are going to have to come out in large numbers and give us a great victory here in North Dakota. And then our friends in California, they're even bigger than Vermont and North Dakota. You know that? So we are going to have to show our friends in the big states to come out and give us a great victory there as well. But the other thing that we're going to do in this remaining period before the Democratic National Convention is to make the case to the superdelegates. Now, we can talk about superdelegates. It's a very strange phenomenon. Secretary Clinton received, if my memory is correct, about 450 superdelegates before anybody else was in the race. Months before the first ballot was cast. That is the establishment talking. And we have got to tell the establishment that is not a process which is acceptable. And the case that I think we can make. Not only is it kind of wrong from a democratic process point of view, the real case that we can make and must make is that all of us, whether it's Hillary Clinton or myself or anybody else, we agree Donald Trump must not become president of the United States. And I believe that very fairly and very objectively, we can make the case that our campaign and our energy and our enthusiasm is the campaign to create a very large voter turnout in November. And here's what happens. This is the story of contemporary American politics. When people are demoralized and when people give up on the political process, Republicans do extraordinarily well. They thrive on low voter turnouts, and that's why Republican governors try to suppress the vote. Fewer people vote, the better they do. We do exactly the opposite. When people are excited and enthusiastic and are prepared to engage in the political process, and when young people, in some cases who may never have voted, come out, and when working class people who have in many cases turned their backs on the political process because they've been burnt so many times, when those people come on in and we have a large turnout, you know what happens? Progressives and Democrats win elections. So I believe it is not just the polling which has us in virtually every instance doing better than Secretary Clinton against Trump. It is the fact that we have the energy to create the kind of turnout that will mean not only a victory for the president's race, but for the United States Senate, for the House, and for governor's races all over this country. Now, the reason that our campaign is doing as well as it is we're doing something quite unusual, and that is not just raising money in an unusual way from ordinary people rather than super PACs, but we are equally doing something fairly radical. We're telling the truth. We're telling the truth at a time when the truth is not always easy or pleasant to tell. But what I believe, and I think most of you know, is that whether it's in our own personal lives or in the political life of the nation, if we do not confront reality and the truth, and if we simply push problems underneath the table, they are not going to be addressed, they are not going to be resolved, and that is the cowardly thing to do. So what this campaign is about is saying, look, these are our problems, we believe these are our solutions, and let's go forward. And let me deal with some of those issues right up front. First point that I want to make is you can watch television 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and television will not give you the reality of American life. You have got to determine that reality. You are the only people, the ordinary people of this country, the middle class, the working class, low-income people. We are the people whose lives are the reality of the American people. And just because you don't see it on TV does not make it true. All right? What are the truths? All right, let's talk about them. For a start, no, that is exactly not the truth. The truth is you, not me. And if there is any person here thinks that I'm coming to you as some kind of savior, that I'm going to do it all myself, you're wrong. No president, not Bernie Sanders or anybody else, can do it alone. We don't need a savior. We need a political movement when millions of people See, there are people who are voting for Donald Trump who think he's going to do it all. Wrong. The only way that real change ever takes place is when millions of people stand up and fight back. That's what this campaign is about. So what are the issues? What are the issues that motivate us all? Everybody in this room believes passionately in democracy. And I want to tell you that today, democracy, the very simple and beautiful system which says one person, one vote, that every person in this room who's an American citizen is equal under the law to have a right to vote and determine the future of this country. That system of democracy today is under deep assault. We have a campaign finance system which is corrupt. And I want you all not to take for granted what we see every day in the papers. It is not acceptable that Wall Street and billionaires and their super PACs buy elections. It is not acceptable that all over this country, I'll give you an example. I was out in Nevada a number of months ago. There's a guy named Sheldon Adelson. Do you know who Sheldon Adelson is? He's just another billionaire worth 40, 50 billion, or whatever he's worth. He summoned to Las Vegas all of the Republican candidates, and many of them came. I don't know that all of them came. And he did a call, and essentially he said, all right, Republican candidates, what are you going to do for me? I'm worth 40, 50 billion dollars. I'm prepared to put hundreds of millions of dollars into your campaign. Tell me what you're going to do for me. That's not democracy. That is oligarchy. And that is not what this country, if we have anything to say about, is going to become. I believe and you believe that every person in this room, whether you're low income, whether you're working class, middle class, you are as important in the political process as are the Koch brothers or Adelson or the other billionaires who are trying to buy elections right now. And that is why together we're going to overturn this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision. And I want to see a system where anybody in this room, anybody in this state, you're conservative, you're progressive, you're moderate, I don't care. But I want you to be able to run for office, to fight for your point of view without having to be dependent on millionaires for your campaign funding. But it's not just the corrupt campaign finance system we have got to confront. It is a rigged economy. This is what a rigged economy is about. It is about a nation, our nation today, having more income and wealth inequality than any other major country on earth, and it is worse in our country today than at any time since 1928. Here is the reality. The reality is that the top 1/10 of 1%, not 1%, 1/10 of 1%, now owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90% of our people. Got that?